So question number one. This is how he's going to do this. He's going to ask them a series of questions. Question number one is, how did you receive the Holy Spirit? And how did you expect to be sanctified? Now that's a good churchy word, isn't it? Sanctified. What does that word sanctify mean? Set apart? Okay. Yeah. To be made holy? Yeah. Okay, divinely set apart. It's spiritual growth. It's becoming Christ-like. It's the process of becoming more holy. Somebody turn to 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 2 for us. Okay, that's good, thanks. So, according to that verse, what is necessary to cooperate with our will for us to be sanctified? There you go. The Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. Okay? So, and it cooperates with our will because we have to choose to cooperate with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit works in us to try and make us holy, to try and make us Christ-like, to try and develop us, to take us deeper, but we got to cooperate with that. We can resist it. We don't want to resist it. We need to cooperate with it. So back here in Galatians chapter 3, he's saying, this is what I want to know. How did you receive the Holy Spirit? And how did you expect to grow spiritually? Paul says that he clearly portrayed Christ crucified in his preaching throughout Galatia. And then he asks the Galatians, how was it that you received the Holy Spirit? Did you get the Holy Spirit by obeying the law or by believing what you heard? Obviously, the answer is they received the Holy Spirit by believing what they heard. Now, some try to make the case out of that verse, and others like it, that the Holy Spirit comes to us by faith. But at the same time, there are other verses that say the Holy Spirit comes at the time of baptism. So they try to set faith and baptism against each other when biblically it makes more sense to say that faith and baptism aren't contrasting each other, but they work together and they cooperate with each other, right? And so when faith is expressed in baptism, we are promised to be given the Holy Spirit. They're linked. And then Paul asks them here, he says, do you think you're going to grow as a Christian, you're going to mature, you're going to be sanctified by your own efforts, by obeying the law, or because you have the Holy Spirit? And as we've already seen when we looked at 1 Peter, it can only happen by the power and working of the Holy Spirit. So clearly, when they first came to Christ, they understood what it was that they were breaking from and what they were embracing, because it cost them. He says, have you suffered so much for nothing if it really was for nothing? So they suffered for Christ. But if they go to thinking that the law somehow contributes to their salvation, then Paul says all of that was for nothing. All of the suffering for Christ that you've endured was for nothing. Imagine that you have your hands full moving a large, expensive TV into an apartment. Okay, so you're carrying this big, expensive flat-screen TV into an apartment. And you walk towards the door, and you have this really nice TV in your arms, and then you see that there's a small child climbing through the wrought iron around a balcony about 6 stories up. And then you see this small child start to fall. And now you have a decision to make. You can either keep holding your precious TV and watch the child fall and die, or you can drop your TV, let it break, and catch the child. What are you going to do? And if you try to hold on to your TV and catch the child, what'll probably happen is the child will fall, get hurt, possibly die, and what? And you'll drop the TV and probably break the TV. So, Paul is telling the Galatians and us, if you depend on the law to save you, that's the TV we're trying to carry, you sacrifice Jesus. Because you can't carry the TV and save the child. So if you're depending on the law, then you got to let Jesus go. But if you trust in Jesus, you drop the law. If you think you can trust in both and be saved, you have neither.